Thank you for tuning in to Say Hi to the Future's Leadership Forum, a space where you will hear perspectives from global industry executives on human ingenuity, how they catalyze it to unlock value and realize their organization's true potential. We will keep it real. You will hear what's worked well and learnings from instances where things could have worked better. I am your host, Saquib Vali, partner at Spiderworks, and explorer Say Hi to the Future, the fast-growing community highlighting the human side of ingenuity. For our listeners today, our guest today is Kundan Joshi, founder and CEO of TheAppLabb. Why don't you start by having a bit of telling our audiences what's a little known fact about you?
I mean, to be very honest, one thing that the introduction doesn't help with and doesn't truly indicate is simply the fact that I'm blessed. Just being blessed to have some amazing people around me, amazing family, amazing people in my team. Just had amazing mentors and support system to guide me throughout the journey. So as simple, I mean, the simple word is just blessed, and I mean, when you follow your passion, do things that you really enjoy doing, focus on just being happy and spreading happiness, on making a difference in one person's life at a time, and with obviously a big grand vision to kind of change the world your own way in whatever you are capable of. Things all fall in place and they work out, and I mean, you keep appreciating them as they come, and you keep growing as whenever they don't. So yeah, so that's, I mean, that's how I'll simply put it. But yeah, just totally been blessed to have this journey of first of all moving to this wonderful land, Canada. I mean, I was born in a beautiful country called India, and I absolutely love India. And I was fortunate to come to Canada, which has been an amazing place to live, to grow my family, to start my business, and it has and been surrounded by some amazing people here in Canada. And the last 15 years of building I guess this baby, which is an organization now called the App Lab, has been a phenomenal journey with some amazing people supporting throughout, and the opportunities it has provided me to work with several amazing people to solve some complex but very important existential problems, to invest in several amazing companies, and to contribute to several people's success in whichever way I can. And it has, yeah, it's truly been a great experience for sure.
That is so good to hear, Kundan. And spreading happiness is something that I don't recall a time when I haven't seen you in a big smile. So that generally is there, and your smile is contagious. I know, coming out of pandemic, we generally don't like to say what is contagious, but your smile is contagious. Um, Kundan, it's funny. I think we first met through a common friend and a dear friend called Ajay Tandon. This was some years ago, but since then, I know you've mentioned how you've been associated with, but you founded the App Lab. For the sake of our listeners, give a bit of color on what the App Lab is, what got you to start the journey, and frankly, what are some of the flourishing factors for the App Lab today?
So I moved from India to Canada about 24 years ago now. I had done my first year of engineering, moved here to complete my software engineering from Western University. When I started the journey was to become a software engineer. I mean, what changed my path was my first challenge, right? I mean, maybe one of my first bigger challenges as in my life, which was unable to find a summer job. My parents were new immigrants; they were trying to find jobs, and I had to support myself. I had to support my tuition, and I wasn't able to find a job as no experience, and or no experience in Canada at least, and just 1 year from school. So I found a sales job because I couldn't find any other job, and it was door to door, and it was far from what I had imagined how my career would begin. But that challenge, I took it positively, and I actually realized that I enjoy sales. I enjoy sales for the sake of for giving me the ability to try and solve people's problems. One thing led to another, and I found myself a job selling high-speed internet, which was very close to technology, which was my passion already. And I really enjoyed doing that. This is high-speed internet in 2000, right? So it wasn't as prevalent, or at least in the region, the area of Toronto where I was selling it, it wasn't as prevalent. So I had tons of fun doing it, and I made a lot of money doing it. And I was like, oh, I think I could do something here. And that led to me being an accidental entrepreneur, where my employer didn't want me to leave. He's like, you made six figures in 3 months doing your job here. Do you think you'll get that in a year after you graduate as a software engineer after 10 years? And I'm like, well, I need to finish my education. I mean, I'm committed to my education, so I'm not going to leave that. But how about, let me make you an offer? And I was kind of joking. I didn't expect him to take the offer. I was like, let me start a branch for you in London, Ontario, in the beautiful London, Ontario. And he took the bait somehow. He's like, okay, sure, go ahead and do it. And I also accidentally became an entrepreneur, started mall kiosks in London, Ontario, selling high-speed internet. Didn't do great financially with that initiative, but I enjoyed it tons. I mean, it sort of gave me an idea that, hey, you know what? I mean, entrepreneurship is something that I'm truly passionate about, helping people solve their problems, bringing a team together to do that. It was all magical, and it seemed like it didn't even know that this world existed. And so when I graduated, I decided to sort of combine my education, which was obviously my passion, which was technology and innovation, into entrepreneurship. And I was moonlighting for a long time, like doing a daytime job as a software engineer in various companies like Bell Canada and Ministry of Education and so on. And in the evenings trying to figure out what am I going to do. And I did everything from websites to social media to call centers. I dived into everything. And then eventually at one of the conferences, I found a smartphone. This is pre-iPhone days. And it was like one of the first, I guess, demos of a smartphone. I don't even remember the manufacturer anymore. It wasn't any of the popular ones. So far in my journey from a technology standpoint, I've been trying to figure out a way to create a great experience, to solve real problems using technology. And I think this is the best way I can do that. So it just felt like I found my calling with that first sight. I was love at first sight with that smartphone, the brand of which I don't know. And I just dived into it, put all my eggs in that basket, and all right, that's it. I'm going to build apps. And taught myself how to code apps, realized I wasn't that great at it, or I was selling better than I was building. So I found someone to help me out there as a favor, or favor in exchange of staying in my flat in India for free. They did a favor for me, and we started working together and building some apps. And in the first app store, soon after iPhone was launched, soon after the app store was launched, in the first app store, we had a few apps that did pretty well, and there was no looking back. We were like, okay, that's it. Let's dive into it. And through that journey of the last 15 years, we've kept on organically growing ourselves, building apps, which are, again, I mean, in essence, I mean, we stay at that intersection, right, where we are creating technology-driven solutions to real human problems. We've stuck to that. I mean, we want to create, like, we want to be human-centric. We want to make sure we are actually solving tangible problems and creating unique, innovative solutions to those real problems. And in that journey, educating our customers to be human-centric, to make sure that they focus on long-term success of their consumers through technology. And then technology can do wonders in terms of whatever it throws at you and whatever transformations the whole technology lifecycle takes you through. But when you're focused on your customers and creating better experiences and solving your customers' problems better, you just take on whatever you can that technology can throw your way towards being committed to that. And that has allowed us to be successful, to have clients which have been our clients for 5, 6, 7 years now. Some of the largest companies in the world, whether it's in financial services or healthcare or retail, and we continue sort of doing that, helping whether it's large clients or small, making sure we are building something that's disrupting an industry, that's bringing a solution that's unique from what has been done before, by single-mindedly being focused on how can we solve a problem that's never been solved before, or solve a problem with a solution that doesn't exist in the market. And that has allowed us, obviously in concert with building a great culture within the organization. I mean, obviously, being purpose driven is very passionate to me, and I'm very passionate about what we leaders and entrepreneurs can accomplish in the world by building purpose driven organizations where we really want to make a difference or make the world a better place. And for us, our mission by end of this decade, by 2030, is to create a billion exceptional human experiences. So it's very focused on helping people in essence and creating amazing experiences, right? And to create those amazing experiences for all these people that will download our apps and so on, it's important that we're creating exceptional experiences for our customers. They love working with us. We are making them successful. We are helping them achieve their goals. In order to achieve that, we need to make sure that we are creating exceptional human experiences for what we call our AppLab family, where they enjoy working at the AppLab. They have a great time. They're learning. They are growing. They have great camaraderie. They really feel they're part of this mission where they're making a difference. And when you do that, I mean, that's culture for me. And building that culture, that's purpose-driven culture, where we are making a difference in each other's lives. And by doing that, we are partnering with our customers to actually make a difference in the world, is something I truly enjoy. While using technology at its fullest potential.
Just seeing you, how animated you are while you're speaking about this, it's heartwarming, right? You spoke about a billion experiences. You spoke about how experiences, not just for your customers, but also inside in your organizations. And then you spoke about culture and how you're passionate about that. We at Spiderworks are having this conversation globally with lots and lots of leaders across the world around what we would call human ingenuity, right? And there, it's all about clever, inventive, and original thinking. But that human ingenuity concept is not new, right? It's the reason why we feel it is so pertinent today is because this whole conversation around all our jobs are going to be taken away, generative AI is going to take over. But there's a role for human and human ingenuity, no matter whether you were 500 years ago or today or 500 years from now. The human ingenuity part will remain, and I think that's what's going to be driving force. So just building on the billion experiences, the culture, and the human ingenuity aspect of it, let me see if I can direct your thought, because I'd love to get your take on, reflect on your journey, but then also help me understand what your take is on ingenuity, specifically the human side of ingenuity, right? And how has that played a role in your overall journey so far?
Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, the way I look at or I define the human ingenuity is ability to solve difficult problems with innovation and creativity, right? Is that a fair definition for you?
That's a beautiful way. Come and work on this side.
Yeah. And that has, I mean, been very integral to my personal journey as well as AppLab's journey, right? I mean, at the end of the day, right? I mean, I personally, as well as at the organization, we've stayed consistent that yes, of course, it's imperative that the field we are in, we need to be innovative. But being innovative is not rocket science. Being innovative is a factor of mindset and is a factor of the process towards solving those really difficult problems in a way, right? And when I was young, I remember there was always that battle between the passion of the youth and the wisdom of the experienced, in essence, right? And as I've grown white hair, I've realized, I mean, the real meaning of wisdom and that growth through experience is truly the ability to encounter as many challenges and obstacles, and allowing each of those challenge, each of that obstacle, each of that failure to in a way open more and more of your own blind spots, right? And when you're on a singular journey, right? I've been fortunate that I've been building this organization for the last 15 years. So in this journey, I mean, and as you know, right, an entrepreneur journey is never flat, straight, or up or whatnot, right? It is this way, and it's meant to be this way, right? Because this is important in order to go up, because when this happens, those blind spots, I mean, we come in with a notion, especially when we are young and we're ambitious and we are entrepreneurial, sort of come with a notion that we know it all, we figured it out, and we want to sort of get things working, right? But the truth is, a lot of that fuel and that fire and that enthusiasm at the bottom of it are several fears of our own, right? The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, and several other aspects that keep us that in a way are driving us, but driving for the wrong reasons, right? And as I've gone through those curves where I've failed several times, I've made wrong decisions several times, I've made mistakes several times, the more mistakes I've made, the more I've realized and appreciated the importance of making those mistakes. I've appreciated the importance of letting myself fail or making sure that the fear of failure doesn't get in the way of trying new things, of trying something different, of trying every single possible way of solving a particular problem. The challenge on finding a unique solution to a particular problem is a unique solution is usually through a very unique uncharted path. And that uncharted path, if you haven't taken, and most likely a lot of other people or no one has taken through true innovation and disruption, it's truly an uncharted path. And in order to get there, there are several blind spots that need to be gotten rid of, several of our own fears that we need to conquer, several of our past triggers that need to be sort of let go and made peace with in order to truly take that particular challenge or an opportunity on with a completely open mindset, in essence. So for me, it comes down to the growth mindset, right? It's one of our values at TheAppLabb. I mean, we have 4 core values, but 2 of the key values that we have is growth mindset and empathy and compassion, right? So we are constantly growing with every single challenge, right? Every challenge, every failure is an opportunity to learn, is an opportunity to grow. And what does that mean? How do we try new things? I mean, fail fast for us is a different way of trying new things without the fear of failure, providing the psychological safety to folks in the organization that it's okay if it doesn't work out, as long as you're trying something new, trying something different. It's okay if it doesn't work out, even if you're on the same path, because it means that there was a blind spot that hadn't been opened up yet, right? And at the same time, similarly, exposing ourselves, right, out of our comfort zone, exposing ourselves to diversity of ideas, diversity of perspectives, diversity of ethnicity, right? I mean, we are in a world today where diversity has become a buzzword and is sort of almost, we don't have a choice to be diverse. We look at it the other way. We say that diversity is the reason we are innovative. Diversity forces us to have a growth mindset by structure and by process of it, right? I mean, in agile organizations, you have a stand-up every single day. In that stand-up, you have different diversity of skill sets, right? You have a designer, a developer, a tester, a product manager. They have all different skill sets. They're coming and huddling every single day and bringing their different perspectives on the table. At the end of the project, they're retrospecting without a blame game, without judgment. They're retrospecting to discuss how can we all grow better together. And at the same time, you're constantly exposing yourself to diversity of gender, diversity of ethnicity, of values, ideologies, political ideologies, whatever that might be. And that openness to that diversity allows us to constantly expand our brain, because you're learning something new.
Love it.
Seeing a different opinion, you're seeing a different perspective, and that constantly keeps our brain growing, because keeps our blind spots to go out of the way. And that for me is the growth mindset that allows us to then find that unique path to that unique solution, to the new solution to that path, collaboratively as a team through that diverse perspective, but individually as we look truly let go or cast away the standard stereotypes that limit us from thinking. That's where true innovation happens. That's where we can truly solve problems in a very unique way, or handle a lot of tough problems without that doubt and without that self-judgment, and so on and so forth, right? So that's how I would define. I have taken on the challenge of ingenuity through incorporating that growth mindset, through truly embracing failure as the best way to learn, and not just like no option to learn, but it's actually the best way to learn. And as a result, you don't classify failure as failure. You don't just, I mean, the phase for me was being disheartened by failure to looking at failure as like, oh man, this happened, but I'm sure in retrospect, this might go well, or in hindsight, this might go well, to actually truly being excited by the opportunity of that challenge, by the opportunity of that setback, and now squeezing all the learning out of that to constantly grow and have those blind spots open, and almost having a red flag. If I'm in my comfort zone too long, if I'm not seeing any challenges come along, I'm probably not looking wide, far, high enough.
That's right.
Where am I? Do I need to challenge myself?
You've given me a new perspective, which is ingenuity is also a method or a process by which what generally would be classified as failures is your opportunity to learn and expand, right? I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. When is it that ingenuity for you and you can take a project, you can take a story, you can take a person, you can take whoever. When has it worked well? Give me one way it has not. And what were your learnings from when it did work well, and what were your learnings from when it did not work well?
So when it has worked well, is it has worked well. I usually relay back to the story where a few years ago, about 8 years ago or so, right? That's before I found peer forums, which we are obviously part of together. So pre that, I struggled with depression. I was at a point where, you know what, I mean, I don't know what the hell am I doing, but like it's too much, and I'm just not able to manage it. And at that time, in order for me to almost reinvent myself, refine myself in that in a big dip in my entrepreneurial journey, that growth mindset that I talked about, that truly helped me pull myself out of it. Since then, every time I've been in a challenging situation, right? Every time, whether it could be pandemic or great resignation or current, whatever you call it, dip in the economy, found ways to appreciate, have gratitude, and find the toughest of challenges with excitement. The word I like is with joyful inspiration. I know you've heard that word at the conference together. So still have that joyful inspiration, especially when, I mean, joyful inspiration kind of comes naturally to me when things are good, but especially when things are challenging, still finding the dig deep to find that joyful inspiration. I think that's where ingenuity works for me, right? Because hey, I'm ready to solve the toughest problem with the most creative and innovative mindset and find the best possible solution, because I can find that joyful energy within me, right? I can find that inspiration within me because I'm not identifying the challenge or failure as failure anymore. So that's where it really shines. Every situation just comes as is, right? And it's up to us to what to make of it, right? And for me, I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason, and it's all our karma, all our actions that actually dictate where we take it. In essence, I can tell you from our core value standpoint, right, at TheAppLabb, I mean, we have 4 values which in a way balance each other out really well, right? The empathy and compassion part, the growth mindset, which is mostly that innovation and ingenuity aspect, right? We define it as growth mindset, but it's technically doing the same thing. It's fueling innovation. It's empathy and compassion. That's truly the mindset of giving value, putting people first, really helping each other, helping the customer, helping the world, all of that stuff. Now, those two, there's time from a balance standpoint, they always are relevant, but depending on the time, there's always a way to cast the right balance, in essence, right? I mean, obviously during the pandemic, when everyone had a challenging time, right, we had to set the right balance, and we had to really dial into compassion and empathy and really deeply caring about our people and making sure we are there for them. And how do we show up? How do we make sure that we show up with that empathy and show up with that support, that we have their back, right? So there were times where from the balance standpoint, we just have to tilt the balance based on the situation, in essence, and they are still relevant in terms of what gets thrown at you. So I wouldn't necessarily say it hasn't worked for us, but there are times where we had to dial that balance in a different way.
So let me ask you on that one, right? And I'm not trying to interrupt. I just want to get a feel for. So the times when you do feel a balance needs to be struck, what's the process you go through to know how do you fine tune that balance? Like, I mean, what's a rubric? What's a method that you use?
It's usually an indicator. I mean, so a good way, like, I mean, right now, right? I mean, the past 6 months or so, we had to change the balance once again, right? Because we had to ensure that in more challenging times from a macroeconomic standpoint, we had to dial in from a growth mindset, from accountability and result standpoint, right? That we had to dial that a lot more, right? I mean, this one term I heard, carefrontation, right? Where you are demanding, but you're demanding because you care. You're in the face and you are being straight, but you're doing that because you care, right? So when that love is there, having having a conversation, have a tough conversation is still okay, because at the end of the day you care and you're coming from a place of love, right? And it's obvious when you're coming from a place of love, because the words that you'll use and how you will take that situation on and how you'll go through the process, how you're mindful through the process will be very different when it's coming from a place of love, right? So even when tilting, I say tilting a balance, because that doesn't mean that particular aspect of the value gets forgotten. We are dialing in a particular value stronger, in that particular case, growth mindset and accountability, but we still have to be mindful of that. In the same case, even when we're dialing much harder or much stronger on the empathy compassion side, we still had to make sure that we are doing it for the right reasons. We are doing it so that because we are responsible to all our stakeholders and so on, in essence, right? So the indicator usually is an obstacle or a setback or a challenge, in essence.
Got
And
it.
appreciating that obstacle, because sometimes we say, hey, you need a kick in the back to realize, oh, okay, thank you for the reminder, and that one reminder is good enough, because right away I'm going to take action without judgment, without like worrying about, oh shoot, did I fail, did I make a wrong mistake, did I reach a goal? I mean, I had to make a decision, I made a decision, as simple that, and that was the point in rethinking why I made decisions. It's important to now know what facts do I have in place, so I can make a better decision today. Who knows about tomorrow, right? So a huge part of that for me is just living in the present and being fully checked into the present by resolving the past and no fear of the future. And that allows just to be mindful, right, of what situation, how do you be completely aligned to what situation we have right now, and how do we react to it in a very mindful way, right? Not jump to conclusions, not be impulsive about it. And that just allowed me to just stay present and do the karma that needs to be done right now, without worrying about behind or forward.
That's amazing. And I know we've taken quite a bit of your time, but what a treat it is for our listeners. This is absolutely fantastic. I mean, just thinking it through, ingenuity as a way to get you through the failures, because not calling them failures, but learning and expanding. Diversity as a way to expand your canvas, right? Your journey is absolutely fantastic. Staying in the moment, staying in the present, sticking to your core values is a way to guide you on a regular basis. And then even the times when you're trying to balance out or make some tweaks and adjustments, using the values as a way to do it, it's fantastic. So thank you again, Kundan, for taking the time and sharing your thoughts. Our listeners would love to hear more from you. What we will do is we'll tag you, and we'll also tag the App Lab in our show notes, and we'll take it from there. Is there something that you would have probably come into this conversation that you really wanted to share that we didn't touch on? Is there, let me give you that moment. If there's something, it could be a piece of advice for other leaders.
Again, right? I mean, I've been truly blessed about my journey, and whatever time it has taken, whatever path I've taken, right? I mean, by being in the moment and just enjoying today and being happy today has just allowed me to get through my life without any regrets, right? And when I do that and continue doing that, I'm just, I mean, I'm just focused on giving and making a world a better place for my employees, for my clients, and for the world at large. And if you take that mindset, I mean, my experience here there will be that mindset I've seen always providing rich dividends, right? I mean, the triggers of the past and fears of any kind have never really come to my rescue. Whereas that positivity and wanting to be happy and spread happiness has always brought joy in my life and others' lives, and that's what we live life for, right?
Staying in the moment and being happy. We'll end it on that. But like I said, Kundan, thanks a lot. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. And like I said, I think our listeners are going to take lots and lots from this. So thanks a lot for doing this.
Thank you, Saquib. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you all once again for tuning in. The Say Hi to the Future podcast series is produced by Sonia Romero, edited by Matt Miller, and special effects by Edward Vasquez. Please leave us your thoughts and let us know if there's a guest you want us to have a conversation with. You can find all Say Hi to the Future podcast series on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.